Welcome in, everybody. It's the Ballard Blitz. It's episode 2. We're bringing the mayhem, talking about his teams, and actually just found out before the the show started to record. He says he's not able to make the Slob Olympics this year, which kind of hurts. I was looking forward to meeting you, Mayhem, but we can still talk about it anyway, as far as you know what you've experienced, because I've seen videos where you've made the Slob Olympics, and of course they have announced some of the events that are going to be part of the competition. I will be going. It's in Panama City Beach. You can come check it out March 1st through 3rd in Panama City Beach 2024. Come meet some of your favorite YouTubers at the 4th annual gathering. So, Mayhem, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I really started up this podcast because I wanted a real podcast. So, like, just to be open, just to talk about life in general and how things are going and everything in between. You're the first guest on here. We had an intro episode last week, and this is a first. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes with somebody else. I do have some questions and everything in between.
All right, hit me with them.
So I came up with 3 football questions for you. I want to know, and you and I have talked about this a little bit, but for those listening that don't know, what made you become a Georgia Bulldog fan, and what got you into college football?
Well, growing up in my family, you really don't have a choice to be what fan you are of a certain team. Growing up, all I knew was Georgia Bulldogs, right? From the time I was born all the way until now, all I've known was the Georgia Bulldogs. I started watching the very first football game that I can actually remember watching, as far as, was 2007. It was Oklahoma versus Boise State. Boise State went on to do can't remember the play right offhand, but they were
Was
able to
that
win the
the
game.
Statue of Liberty?
Yeah, the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, it was that play right there that Boise State won the game versus Oklahoma. That's the very first memory of me watching football, and after that, I fell in love with football. Um, my stepdad and my uncle both got me into football, and my uncle is a diehard Georgia fan. My mom is a diehard Georgia fan. Um, pretty much my whole family is a diehard Georgia fan. And then whenever I met my stepdad, he is a LSU fan, and he's actually been on my YouTube channel previewing the LSU Tigers for this past season. So if you want to go check that out, go ahead. But yeah, he is an LSU fan, and he tried to sway me away from the Georgia Bulldogs. Whenever we first started back in 2007 watching football, but I stayed the course, stayed a Georgia fan, and because my mom said, if you ever become a fan of anybody else, I'm gonna spank you. So that's kind of how that happened. My love for football, it just, I grew up with it. Every single Saturday around the house was football, so that's all I really known. And then whenever I became an adult, that's what I do now. So carrying on what my family has taught me, and you know seems like I love football more than they do now.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's kind of how I was too. I grew up an Alabama fan, and my parents went to Alabama, and they met in Alabama, went to school there, grew up there their whole lives, and uh, when Saturday when Saturday rolled around before I was able to work, uh, it was football every single Saturday, and there was just not a Saturday that went by where we were not watching an Alabama game. I mean, I was there for uh, the Shula days, and of course the early Nick Saban times. Of course, he's recently retired from Alabama, which is sad. But looking forward to the Kalen DeBoer era. I'm kind of like you. I grew up on it, so I think that's really good. Outside of football, what other sports do you enjoy? Because I am trying to get back into basketball on this channel. Baseball's fixing to kick up. What else do you enjoy as far as sports and competition?
Sports, I used to watch basketball a lot, but it's just really hard to keep up with, especially like it could be on a Tuesday night, it could be on a Monday night, it could be on a Wednesday night. I mean, keeping up with the games is very difficult. And so I kind of stopped watching it. I'm Oklahoma City Thunder fan, and I know you're asking, well, you're a Georgia fan and then OKC fan. How can you do that? Well, it's very simple, right? Whenever I first started watching basketball, I kind of looked online to see like what the teams were, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Ballard, and this might sound like a casual take here, but I literally looked at all the logos and I picked my favorite logo, and then that became my favorite team. So
Yeah,
OKC Thunder, and OKC Thunder, right? Thunder. I mean, just lowering the thunder on teams, and it sounded cool, and so I went with it. And it wasn't like, well, I'm from this state, I got to be with I got to be with this team. It wasn't like that for basketball. For football, like I said, I mean, I come out the womb a Georgia fan, so I didn't really have a choice in being a Georgia fan, but I had a choice to be a basketball OKC fan because of the simple fact that, well, my family never really watched basketball. So whenever I got into basketball there, I had to pick my own team. And I was kind of lost on picking it because, like I said, my family picked the Georgia Bulldogs for me. Um, so that's how that worked.
yeah, and you mentioned the Steelers a little bit. What was your reaction to them this season? Just being able to make the playoffs and obviously playing a good team in the Bills, but like, was it truly the most heartbreaking for you as a Steelers fan to see them lose that wild card game? And then what do you think would be next for Mike Tomlin and company? Like what's your message right now as a Steelers fan?
Well, I'll give you a little backstory on how I became a Steelers fan. So I was going to church, not too far away from my house whenever I was about 9 years old, 10 years old. Um, it was I believe I was 9 or 10. It was the last time the Steelers won a Super Bowl
Yeah.
with Ben Roethlisberger, right? Um, and they were facing the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken. And they every single year that church youth group, had Super Bowl watch Sunday, or whatever it is, right? The Super Bowl watch. So we would
Like a
go
watch
Sunday
party?
night, yeah, watch party, right? And we would go that night to watch the Super Bowl and have snacks and food and stuff like that. Well, every single one of the youth group, because they were all pretty much a family, every single one of them were from the Pittsburgh area, and they were huge Pittsburgh Steeler fans. And that was like my first time ever watching NFL because I was always a college football guy. I really never cared for the NFL. So whenever I sat down and watched my very first game, and that was the Super Bowl versus Arizona Cardinals. That was my very first Steelers game that I watched. And they told me, because I said I don't have a favorite. They asked me my favorite team, and I said I don't have a favorite team. So they, slapped a Steelers jersey on me, and they said, hop on the bandwagon, right? And we watched the game, and the Steelers ended up winning the game. And I said, well, that must be a sign saying that I need to be a Steelers fan, because we won the Super Bowl. And I was a bandwagon fan. I'm gonna be honest, I was a bandwagon fan to start off with, but here recently we haven't been what we used to be. Obviously, getting to your question, the Steelers losing the wild card game was not really a big surprise to me. We had some injuries on the defensive side of the ball. TJ Watts, it seems like whenever he gets injured, the defense doesn't know how to defense. And it's a miracle that we even got to where we got. We had Matt Canada as offensive coordinator, couldn't even muster up 20 points per game. It was terrible. We won most of our games defensively. We finally fired Matt Canada. And then it seemed like we got a little bit better on offense. It seemed like we were rolling pretty good. And we made the playoffs. We needed help to make the playoffs anyways. We needed I believe it was the Jaguars to lose, if I'm not mistaken, and they did, right? So everything kind of went the way that we needed it to go. So with that being said, it was a miracle that we even got to the playoffs this year. I wasn't really expecting a playoff berth, especially the start of the season. I think we were like 2-4 or something like that. We were absolutely terrible. But hopefully next year, I do know that Mike Tomlin is going to be our head coach next year. But a lot of people are saying that a lot of people are saying that you need to get rid of Tomlin. He's been there too long, yada yada yada, get a new face in there. But who are you going to get that's better than Mike Tomlin? I mean, yeah, a new face of the team, might be good, but who are you going to do? Who are you going to get that has the same, coaching style as Tomlin? Because I mean, he's one of the best in the game right now. Whenever you talk about NFL coaches that are the best right now, you're looking at Bill Belichick, you're looking at Mike Tomlin, and you're looking at the former Seahawks, Pete Carroll, right?
And you're looking at
So with
guys.
that
Would
being,
you throw? I hate to interrupt, but I want to jump in. Would you throw a guy like Andy Reid in that pot too?
yeah, Andy Reid, yeah. And there's about 5 coaches that you can really put in that pot as like elite coaches in the NFL. And um, I feel like if you were to let go of Mike Tomlin, you would need to match his energy anyways. You would need to find the right fit for the Steelers. I don't know who you would really go out and get. I think honestly, we are I mean, I know we have George Pickens, but other than George Pickens, I mean, we're maybe 1 or 2 wide receivers away from being excellent at the offensive side. Defensively, we got TJ Watts, and we got some other guys that are pretty good. Steelers defense has always been a staple in our team, so I'm not really too worried about the defense. We'll get defensive players, no problem. But as far as the offense, I feel like George Pickens, without him, I mean, yeah, we have Deontay Johnson, but he ain't. I mean, I'm sorry, Steeler fans, but he's not that great. He's not. He's mid. George Pickens is the real deal. We need another George Pickens or two of them. And I like the future, especially with Kenny Pickett. I like Kenny Pickett. I think he is he's growing. I think he's going to be a franchise quarterback for us. I really I'm sticking with Kenny Pickett throughout his mistakes and stuff like that, getting through his younger years in the pros. But I think he's going to be a great quarterback for us in the future, and he just needs some weapons around him for sure.
Talking with Mayhem Matthew here at the Ballard Sports Media YouTube channel, the Ballard Blitz, episode 2. Again, if you want to be a part of this podcast that we're trying to grow and build, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter at Ballard Sports. You can email me, ballardsports19@gmail.com. You look at the Steelers, they're no longer in the playoffs. I hate to break the news to you, they're not. But you got teams out there, the Bucks, my team, and the Detroit Lions. You got the Packers and the 49ers, the Ravens, Texans, the Bills, and the Chiefs. You look at all those teams, Mayhem. Are you set on a Super Bowl matchup right now?
I'm not really set on a Super Bowl matchup right now, to be honest. But I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I know who I'm cheering for, and I'm cheering for CJ Stroud. That guy, it seems like he is a team player. It seems like he's very humble. Even though Georgia beat him in college and Ohio State, right? Um, you know, he was always the guy that it seemed like, whenever he lost to Georgia, he was like, I could have made a few more plays. I could have done this. He was putting himself out there like, okay, I could have done better, instead of throwing his teammates under the bus and saying, hey, that field goal kicker missed the field. He missed a field goal, yada, yada, yada. He could have, blamed it on some, injuries. He could have blamed it on whatever, but he was selfless, and he always gave thanks to the Lord Savior Jesus Christ, right? And I don't know, something about him. I'm cheering for him. Now that my Steelers are not in the playoffs, so I'm definitely cheering for him to make it to the Super Bowl. As far as the other side goes, I don't know.
I'll tell you what, the Texans and the Lions, you want to talk about overachieving this year. If they make the Super Bowl, and that's what we get for Super Bowl, what is it? 58? 58? Yeah, if that's our matchup, bro, could you imagine the rating? Do you think the ratings will be too low or be over the top high to see those teams?
Well, the Super Bowl is always going to be ratings out the sky, right? I think it's going to
Yeah.
be a great matchup. I feel like NFL is a little bit different than college football because, well, it's a lot different. But in the aspect of like national championship versus the Super Bowl, seems like people watch the Super Bowl regardless if they watch football or not. It's just something it's basically an excuse to have a family gathering, right?
Yeah.
And for college football national championship, if you have two teams where you feel like that one team, like for example, people feel like, maybe Michigan and Washington didn't deserve to be in the national championship. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying some people out there, they feel that way, and they say, well, I'm not going to watch this mess. It's a bunch of doo-doo, right? And especially with Florida State being left out, you got Florida State fans saying, well, I'm not going to watch it because, well, Florida State deserved to get in, whatever, whatnot. You know how I feel about that. The committee got it right. But anyways, different topic for a different day. But what I'm trying to say is it seems like you know, it don't matter. It don't matter if you're a football fan or not. You're going to watch the Super Bowl because that's how big the Super Bowl is, especially the Super Bowl commercials. The national championship don't have national championship commercials like the Super Bowl does, right? They don't have the epic halftime show that everybody wants to see, right? So I guess the atmosphere is a lot different. So I do think the ratings are going to be very high, no matter what two teams get in. So with that being said, yeah, to answer your question, I think the ratings are going to be really good, especially if the Texans get to the Super Bowl. I think a lot of people are rooting for C.J. Stroud. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And I even think, just being honest here, I think the only people out there rooting for a team like the Chiefs who play the Bills on Sunday are Chiefs fans. Unless there is something new this year that is taking place in the NFL. And yes, I'm going to bring it up. Unless you're a Swiftie too, because all the Taylor Swift fans are going to be pulling for the Chiefs kingdom. And I think that, listen, if Taylor Swift shows up at the Super Bowl, I swear to you, there's not a single person that's a Chiefs fan that won't have it on their television. Hold on, folks. I think we're having tech issues here. Did we lose Mayhem? I might have to call him up because it looks like his camera went out and I don't hear him. Give me 1 second. Hey, folks, welcome back in. We had some tech issues and we lost Mayhem, but we got him here on the phone. You doing okay?
Oh yeah, I'm doing great.
All right, we'll just do it like this for the remainder of the show, if that's fine.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. I forgot. I know we were talking about the Chiefs and how the ratings and everything were going through the roof because of Taylor Swift and all that. But let's go ahead and move on again to like the Slob Olympics. I think you and I had talked, and you said, have you made a decision on if you're going or not this year?
Yeah, I probably won't be able to go this year to the Slob Olympics, just with job opportunities and stuff like that, and getting back into the swing of things. Probably not going to be able to make it, but definitely we'll try to get to an event soon.
Yeah, I was looking forward to meeting you, man. We got our hotel room booked and everything, but I look forward to meeting everybody else. Some of the confirmed events via Uncle Lou and Pigskin Pete this past week, the bat spin obstacle, they're going to do away with the 40-yard dash. They talked about shot put, donut on a string. They've always had stuff like they're going to try to bring in the long jump, hula hoops, horseshoe. Push-ups have always been there, probably sit-ups. Honestly, I just want to go to meet everybody. I was hoping to meet you, but obviously you'll have to wait and see what your job looks like. I wish you the best, man. But if you could come up with your own event for the Slob Olympics, like what if it were up to you and you had to add one event, whether it's from the actual Olympics or not, or if it's something that you've thought of personally, is there anything that sticks out to you?
Ping pong.
Ping pong. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I always like ping pong, especially, if you got two people that are good at it going back and forth. It gets really, to me, it gets my adrenaline flowing. They're like, man, they're going back and forth, and it gets into a shootout, and you're wondering who's gonna miss, and it gets you standing on your feet. And maybe I'm crazy, but ping pong is definitely something that I enjoy watching. As far as the Olympics goes, and if they ever did it at the Slob Olympics, that would be something for sure to watch.
Yeah, and I think too, I had brought up a swim contest because of we'll be at a hotel, right? So I figure one of the events we do is in the pool. But then again, you got to think, I don't even know what the weather's supposed to be like yet in Panama City by the time the slobs roll around March 1st. So, I mean, it'll all depend on that. If I even try to touch the swimming pool with the weather and everything. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to meet everybody. I'll compete, but I just want to finally meet guys like Uncle Lou and Pigskin Pete. And maybe we get guys like Big Dog Brett there. I'm not sure who all is actually going, but I'm looking forward to that. When you went, I've seen footage out there. I think I saw you at Pigeon Forge or something. Well, talk about your overall experience at the Olympics.
Yeah, I didn't go this past year, but I went the year before the second annual Slob Olympics to Pigeon Forge. I had a blast. Got to take part into the Slob Olympics. Got to meet my favorite YouTubers, Pigskin Pete, Uncle Lou. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet Jackpot at that one. He was at the next one. But as far as meeting my favorite YouTubers, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think it was. I thought it was like something that I could do, but then again, I thought maybe I never get to meet Uncle Lou or Pigskin Pete, and I did, and they some of the nicest people come from the Slob Olympics. Also getting to meet Raj and Colby and I don't want to start naming names because then everybody was just so nice there, and everybody that was so kind, and I love the competition that it brings. I love the competition part of it. You get to make the videos before the Slob Olympics and do a little trash talk, even if you don't know how to trash talk. It's just the overall camaraderie of the thing, and getting to hang out with guys that enjoy things that you enjoy, like college football, and being competitive and being in that competitive spirit is always great. And you get to have some conversations with guys and really get to know people, and you see that they're they're just an average Joe, you know what I mean, and they don't think they're better than you or anything like that. They're your friends, right? So with that being said, I have nothing but good to say about the Slob Olympics and that the YouTube community, football community, because this football community has helped me so much, and I can't even put it into words. So with that being said, I would definitely suggest everybody to at least go to one Slob Olympics if you can.
Absolutely. Mayhem, I won't take up more of your time, man. You have a good rest of your day. Thanks for coming on. We love you, and we'll see you on the next Touchdown Tuesdays, if not sooner.
All right, for sure. Go Dogs.
Thank you.